Well, welcome everybody. We are so glad you are here. Many of us are feeling that surge of maybe inexplicable energy. Maybe we are aware of the energy, and we've had a really big astrological shift recently. And so we are going to talk just a little bit more about that today. And so I just wanted to say welcome. Right before we started this recording, as you know, if you're watching this later, we record these from our distance Reiki shares that we do on Tuesday mornings. They're 9:30 to 11 Pacific. Every Tuesday, we are here with a group of people live, and they're free and open to all experience levels, all lineages. So just saying that. But what we did before we started the recording is we just took a moment and placed our hands in Gasho, brought our attention in from all the places that and things that we might have going on that it took for us to get here. Just that indication of spirit, activated Reiki. For those of you that are not attuned to Reiki, but just that knowing that Reiki is surrounding you. That's the intention of Colleen and myself and Danny and many of you that are joining us here, that the Reiki is flowing to you. And so it just really brought to our attention that even just taking a few moments, I think it was maybe a minute, maybe two, can really shift how you're feeling inside. It can really shift, bringing in that Reiki energy to support you, can really shift your mental awareness, your physical awareness, and really having that Reiki energy to help you within that. It calms everything. That's what it is at its foundation. It's a stress reduction technique. It's a relaxation. We use it for many different ways in our life and our spirituality. But at its foundation, that is one of its core fundamental things that many people use it for, stress reduction and relaxation. And the reason that I bring that up today, as I said, is that we have had a huge astrological shift in this past week since the last time we saw you all, since the last time we posted onto YouTube. Pluto has moved into Aquarius. The sun also moved into Aquarius. They did that on the same day. We are now in Aquarius season. But the bigger one that we are talking about today is that Pluto moving into Aquarius. Now, Colleen and I, neither of us are astrologers. So if you want more detailed, you want more expert information about this, definitely go to an astrologer's social media, YouTube. Taylor Norris, who's with us often in this circle, she has YouTube videos that talk about it, different things around it. We've had Molly McCord on the channel or on the podcast and on our YouTube. She's an expert astrologer, so you can go and check out their stuff to find out more details about it. However, Colleen and I do pay attention to the big transits, to the small transits, to how it affects us, how it's going to affect the world globally, and the different things that we feel personally, and we know people are collectively feeling it, whether it is for ourselves, our families, that noticing of how people within our world are feeling, our clients. We see it a lot in our clients and our students when these big things happen. And also because, we have these conversations with our circles, with our groups, such as everybody here, we can see that how it's kind of affecting everybody. And so one of the things that Colleen really brought up, and Colleen, I'll let you talk about it. And hi, by the way, you haven't actually said recording.
Oh yeah, hi.
Hi. Brought it up is about feeling the shift in the energy from Pluto being in Capricorn since 2008. And now it's moving into Aquarius till 2044. So it's a really big shift in the energy, astrologically speaking. Pluto is an outer in astrology planet. I know there's discussion around that, but outer planet. And so when it moves, it's a big shift. It's a big move, and it's moving from an earth sign to an air sign, which is a very big difference in the type of energy that we're feeling. And so, you know, a lot of us, especially in these circles, are so sensitive to energy. Even if we didn't know that was what was occurring, we can kind of feel it within our bodies. We can feel it in the collective. On top of it, we had a CME that happened yesterday, a coronal mass ejection, which is a solar flare that happened yesterday, Sunday. So we're feeling that part of the energy on the earth. Many of us have been dealing with weather, so there's all of these different things that are occurring. And because we can be so sensitive to energy within these spaces, we can feel it, and we may not know what we're feeling and how to and where to assign it. And so my whole point about this, my roundabout point about this, is that just even taking a couple moments, 2 minutes before we started the recording, because we're in our busyness, we're in the energy, we have all of this stuff going on, and doing a quick Gasho meditation, or just Reiki on, doing a quick Reiki come in, help me. If you're tuned to the symbols, drawing the symbols in your hands or in front of you, or just saying the power symbol, the CKR symbol, right? Come in and support me. Having that Reiki energy come in and support me just for a couple minutes can really help to shift your energy. And in this time frame where we are going from an earth sign to an air sign, it can kind of feel a little bit electric. And there's a lot of different things that we can do in order to help our bodies kind of integrate this time frame, help our bodies to move into this time frame maybe in a little more relaxed, or have the clarity of what is actually behind how we're feeling, whether it might be kind of that physical anxiety, whether it might be kind of that scattered feeling. Some of us might be fully aware of it and in just that like amazing part of the shift, right? That's a possibility too. So there's that piece of it. But being able to call in Reiki on the fly, or to be in the longer form of Reiki, all of it is helpful. But also at the same time, you can just do it quickly. You can just do it in a couple minutes. You can just ask it to come in and support you in this time frame, so that you can shift in kind of a different frame of mind, so that your body can shift into a different place, in that kind of more grounded space, even though we are in a really big time of shifting into an air sign, so that kind of, I think just even the name of it describes going from an earth to an air sign, right? There's a difference in putting your feet on the earth, putting your hands in soil versus feeling the wind on your face. And that's the difference that we are feeling right now. And it might happen all at once, and it may not happen all at once because it's such a big shift. So that's kind of what I wanted to say really quickly, that, just that 2 minutes, I know helped me personally a lot in bringing myself in. So Colleen, I know that you had a lot to talk about this. It was kind of your realization that brought this in. I know we've been talking about authentic voice and authentic self and authenticity. I think this plays into that because it is authentic to us that we have been feeling this shift in our bodies in a really big way, and almost to an anxious energy would be the best way to describe it. Kind of that buzzing feeling, even if that's literal or more figurative, that is kind of the energy that has been about. And on top of it, supporting other people that are feeling the same way and not knowing whether they're conscious of it or not, not knowing that that is a part of why they're feeling that way, and that kind of frantic or frenetic state of mind that they might be in, and supporting them. And then, both of us being very empathic, also being in our clarity and our stability, supporting others as well. So Colleen, you're the one that kind of brought this to the forefront. So I don't know if you want to kind of chime in here and
you're explaining it so well.
Yeah, talk about your perspective with it.
Yeah. Well, obviously it's not just a one-day thing, and people will be feeling this energy prior to this big shift. And what we're talking about is the clarity of understanding the shift and how it's affecting you physically, and then how you can use Reiki energy to bring the clarity in with what is actually where you actually are, and then what your solutions are, innovations are, even understanding. We've been talking about authenticity and Reiki with authenticity, success consciousness. What does that mean to you? And so in a big shift like this, it's an energetic change. For me, I noticed probably about 2 weeks ago, I really started feeling anxious, which I don't really have a lot of anxiety anymore. I used to have a lot, but I've learned how to manage it a lot with Reiki, and a lot of the things that I felt anxious about, I'm more peaceful about now. So I noticed a really physical anxiety. And then, of course, what I tried to do with it was to place it. What am I anxious about? Where is this coming from? So it's kind of backwards. And that's what caught my attention, because instead of knowing what it was about and knowing I feel anxious because of this, I felt anxious in my body, like a nervous energy, and then look to see, well, what does this belong to? And I have things that I can assign it to that are really valid. So I'm not invalidating the personal experience, but what I noticed is that it's an actual energy running through me. And the reason that we feel like this is important to bring up is to have an awareness of it. And doing this kind of work for so many years, and doing ceremony, doing, teaching with energy and thinking about energy, it's really what we do, and how it physically affects us. You'll notice over the course of years that there are times you're running energy. You're running, like, for me, there's an electric feeling with it. It kind of has sometimes even a zappiness feeling, or then sometimes a really heavy feeling, but electrical. And so when I took time to notice, what is this? That's when I really realized that in addition to the very real things that I have that I could be anxious about, those are true, I also had this excess energy. And I actually, you don't have to use selenite, but I use selenite with like the power symbols, any of the Reiki symbols. And I'll actually take this and point it into the ground and let the energy run through me and discharge. You can imagine that. You can intend it using Reiki and inviting that connection with the earth. I also have a feeling of the moon energy coming through and flowing through me, and the selenite, and just gently taking that excess energy and putting it into the ground. You can also let that go just with Reiki energy and taking a moment. Robyn's going to actually do a guided meditation Reiki journey to do some of this, to let go of that excess energy, but then also using Reiki energy to clarify. I guess for me, it would be to bring my awareness into a moment of clarity, to even notice, is this excess energy? Is it anxiety? The other thing that's happening for me is I have like a million ideas a minute. And it's like they're just coming through so fast. I almost, just kind of have to let them come through. And that's the other thing that happens. And in this particular transit, it's mental. It's, air signs are mental, they're thought. And this transit, some of the really positive attributes of it are innovation and technical advancements. And so one of the things I notice for me is, because I do happen to love innovation and technology, there's so much to look at that it's almost like I hardly know where to look at first. So that can bring me to a level of overwhelm, and also can take me to a level of like, I'm just not looking at any of it because it's too much. And then the other part of is, I wake up early and I'm up and want to know more, curiosity. So there's a lot of things going on in the world that reflect the changes that are going on. As Robyn mentioned, we are commonly empathic people that, we can feel the feelings of others. And with so many changes, some of the things that we see happening, social reform, humanitarianism, the pushback with all of it, the oppositions happening, and also the positivity happening. But we can also really feel the feelings of it all and get into the streams of all the different thoughts that are taking place. And so that part of it can be overwhelming. So to use Reiki for that it's really simple. You can think it, say it, draw it, imagine it, intend it, however it works for you, for whatever length of time you have, to actually take some time and place the Reiki energy around you. So I might just do that with my hands. In fact, everybody just take a moment. Let's do that right now. Oh, feels good to just take a breath. I didn't know I had so much to say. Like, okay, so I'm going to just bring my hands into Gasho for a moment. As Robyn was talking about, just take a deep breath, activating Reiki in your hands and your thoughts. And now you can even just place it. Imagine now I'm beaming it with my hands, but let's say that's not okay for you to do right where you are. You can think it. Just imagine that Reiki energy is in front of you. Now it's on the side, behind you, to this side. Take some deep breaths. Bring your hands above you. Reiki is above you. It's below you. And it's right here within you. So now just take a moment and imagine each of the Reiki symbols flowing into your body. The power symbol, CKR. Mental emotional symbol. Distance symbol. Take a moment and think about that distance symbol, H S Z S N. Anyway, you know which one I mean. The distance symbol. And I think of the distance symbol as my divine heart. It is the divine heart in creation. And it's that spark of light that you are, that is your spirit in that moment when your spirit became self-aware. So there's love and light and consciousness, and then your spirit becomes unique and self-aware. And the moment of that light, some people call it your God spark. That spark I think of as the distance symbol, and it activates that spark in my heart light. And so now within this field of light all around me, just take a moment, the field of light all around you. Breathe deeply with the divine heart. And now it shines in front of you. Your heart light is shining in front of you, behind you. Your heart light shines to your right and to your left and above you and below you. Shines within you. So again, you can take a long time doing that. Short time, you can think it if you're not in a place to be able to be, really into it. And so how I perceive that with this specific topic of managing your empathy with all the energy shifts taking place in the world, all the things going on in the world, now your energy is right here with you, and the Reiki energy is around you. And it's like a filter, and it's higher consciousness, it's high vibration, it's all the higher frequencies of things like love and joy and peace and beauty and all of those high vibrational mental, your mind consciousness lifting into higher consciousness. So as you have that field of light around you, the outside world energy has a filter before it comes to your energy. Your energy gets to be here, and it has a filter for how far out you send your energy or engage with your energy. And so it gives you the place of clarity. It can bring your scattered attention in, but also for me, being so empathic, I do that in moments, and I do it for lengths of time through, self Reiki or, like the invocations that we do that will take lengths of time, or receiving Reiki from somebody else. But I also use that in my day, and particularly going back to the energies that we're feeling. There's a lot, and we know that it's a lot out there, and it's a lot in here. And the other thing that can be happening when you have these big planetary shifts like this, there's some pretty big endings that you may be experiencing from the one, that Pluto and Capricorn, and the new beginnings, and they can fluctuate. They can go back and forth. Like you can be in that ending and the new beginning starts, and you can be in the new beginning and suddenly the ending pops in. But also sometimes you're right at the beginning of that new beginning, and you're looking out ahead. And that's where it's helpful to have clarity. And we've been talking about your unique path. We did a webinar on that, of understanding your personal unique path. And then that's what brought us into all this kind of a conversation about your authentic self and how you use Reiki to understand your own success consciousness, what it all means to you. But then we also took it into your authentic goals, And last week we talked about your authentic voice. So there's a lot of really positive things taking place right now. And there's also challenges. And those can be individual, they can be collective, they can be friends and family, people around you. And there's also this incredible level of new innovation, new ways of thinking, suddenly thinking differently than you have thought before, or you know it's there. Curiosity is coming back. And so that can bring shifts within you. And again, how do you actually utilize Reiki energy to be in the higher frequencies of these natural alignments with your body is made of the earth, aligning with the earth, aligning with the rhythms of the earth. The earth moves with all of these planets, with the sun, with the universe. It all has its own rhythm. So being in alignment with it and then using Reiki energy to help entrain you into the higher levels of your own consciousness and thinking, so you have more clarity of thought. And particularly, this is a change in thinking. Aquarius, air signs, it's mental, it's thought, it's innovative, it's all these different things, and that can bring different shifts in your physical feeling as well. So, Robyn, I see you unmuted. Did you have something you wanted to?
Yeah, well, I think I unmuted when you were talking about completion, and that's a big part of this time frame. But then, in right on topic, completely shifted what I was going to say. So I see a lot of people in the chat that are talking about their ideas, and so many of us are having all of these like downloads, these ideas. There's multiple people saying they have notes all over the house or in their phone and all of these ideas. And sometimes like that can be part of the, yeah.
As
Colleen has her post-it notes. So there is, there's literally like 4 people holding up, just in this window, holding up post-it notes that of all the ideas that they have, happening right now. Yeah. That can also feel overwhelming. And, this is another place that you can use spiritual guidance for. It's literally part of what the course of our Next Step Reiki was, how it was created, why it was recreated. How can you use Reiki for those time frames as well? Where do I go? What do I do? I'm in the messy middle. I have all of these ideas. And how do I know which ones to choose? And how do I know which ones to implement? And so I know that there is that amazing part of ideas and possibilities, and yet sometimes that can feel pretty overwhelming, and I don't know where to go next. And so it is why we ask, like, what is your one next step? Because having the Reiki energy to help support you in that process, to have the spiritual exploration, to be in the quiet mind as much as possible, or the quiet feelings in our body as much as possible, to be able to hear you, to be able to hear spirit, to be able to hear kind of even the realities of your life, of your actual physical world. All of that, it can be so helpful for that clarity of thought. And I don't think that that is something that is going to shift quickly as far as those ideas are concerned, because we are now in the time of ideas. As Colleen said, innovation.
Innovation.
And that is a good thing, right? And so it is about how you navigate that, and how you manage it as well. I know Danny's an Aquarius, and we always go to Danny too when we need ideas because she has ideas. It's an air sign thing. My husband's a Gemini and very Gemini. And yeah, Kelly, I was wondering if you were Gemini. Yeah, when you said you didn't have Aquarius, I was like, oh, I wonder if you're Gemini though. Ideas, it's a part of the beautiful thing of air signs, right? It is like a contribution that they bring to the world. And so it won't be uncommon for you to have that happen, especially as we move into different aspects of that. And so there is that part. We literally talk about it in 1 to 2 modules in our next step class of like, how do you use Reiki when you're in that time frame as well? Because it can feel like pew, 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 and what do you focus on? And what's going to be the most beneficial to your life? And how do you hear that guidance from you? How do you hear the guidance from spirit too? Because sometimes that's what's helpful. It's like, okay, what's the truth here? How do I see this clearly? How do I manifest what I want? Because there is that piece of it too. There is like, we can have the idea. How do we manifest it? Sometimes it's just an idea and we just need to we just need to write it down to like be able to like get it out of our head. Right. And so there's that aspect to this time frame and the aspect that will kind of carry forward. And so that part is also about moving with the energy. How do you move with that in a way? How do you move with the innovative pieces that might be coming into you? How do you move with that in a way that is conscious, that is in a way that's beneficial to your life? And that includes, the people in your life and that kind of ripple idea out from you in the middle. So anyway, I just wanted to add that piece to it. I know for me, as Colleen was talking about the grounding aspect and the idea that, we also have that Reiki energy as that filter. We also have our Schumann resonance. We're electromagnetic beings. For me, putting my feet on the earth is really, really helpful for grounding because it discharges. I think of it as like an electrical plug. Like we have the grounding element to the electrical plug. That's how that's how I feel when I'm putting my feet on the earth. You could even touch, like if it's really cold, you have snow, something like that. You can touch like a plant or a tree. That can help discharge the energy as well. As Colleen said, if those things aren't necessarily easy for you, using the Reiki energy or a crystal or something like that can also kind of have the same effect because, a crystal is made of the earth, so it can help to just discharge into the crystal as well. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to add as I was watching all of these people in the chat and holding up different things and all the ideas that you might have and all of that's just downloading right now come through. And just the reality, if you're feeling that way too, that it is a part of what is happening in our collective right now. And what I love about the idea of that we are adding Reiki energy into that, or our spiritual modalities, whatever you might practice, Reiki might be one of those things, art, the spiritual modalities, sound healing, all of those kinds of things that we all do. Many of us have multiple practices that are in these circles. And that we're adding those frequencies into all of it, into this innovation, into this kind of humanitarian idea that Aquarius supports, that we are adding these enlightened energies, these enlightened frequencies, these conscious and collectively conscious visions, these, and I don't mean like I'm having a vision, although it could be that too, but like are the visions, the dreams that we might have, that we are adding that kind of higher vibration into all of that as well, authenticity that we were talking about, moving outside of that outer authority into our inner authority and our own authentic self, our own inner truth, into that, and that does matter, and that it does add to that kind of collective idea, because the more of us that do that, the more these things kind of entrain to the energy. It's not like that we're responsible from coming from our own life force. It's that when we're using Reiki, when we're using spirit, when we're using these modalities that we all have, and we're navigating this from a conscious standpoint, it does allow for and help with that entrainment, so that it adds it into the frequencies of the planet. It adds it into the electromagnetic fields of the planet. And that does make a difference. And so it is also in that space of, being important, that it matters, it counts, that we are adding that viewpoint to all of this as well, that kind of love energy to it all, because that matters as well, as we are, contributing to the collective. And that when we're shifting into these Aquarian attributes, that we can bring in these vibrations that so many of us care about, we work with, we work on in ourselves and in our world. The Reiki energy is doing that is adding to that collective idea of all of these frequencies and these Aquarian attributes. I did want to just mention that we have classes. So for those of you that are here live, we start Animal Reiki 1 and 2 tomorrow. And then we have Animal Reiki Master for those of you that are listening later or here live. Animal Reiki Master begins Friday. And then Colleen is teaching Human Reiki in February 1 and 2, Human Reiki Master, Human Reiki Karuna Master. It's all just the normal Reiki, but it's easier to differentiate between animal and human Reiki. So she'll be teaching in February with everything. You can go to reikilifestyle.com.